Dave, of course, born on Valentine's Day because he's a lover. That's right. So anyway, we'll be celebrating Dave's birthday and my birthday next time. But we are on to letter number 7, which is from Curtis Lankos. And Curtis is there, and he says, Dave and Dave. Hey, guys, I wanted to drop you a line and let you know I really enjoy the podcast. It's nice to listen to a couple of loyal fans pontificate not only about Van Halen, but the tentacles directly and indirectly involved in this monstrous band, such as Sammy and Dave's solo material, Chickenfoot, Steve Vai, Billy Sheehan, and the Winery Dogs. You recently asked your listeners to share which actors would play members of Van Halen in a potential biopic, and I'm glad that you asked that question, because ever since I saw the movie A Walk to Remember with Mandy Moore in 2002, I have thought that her co-star Shane West should play Eddie in some type of feature about Van Halen. Interestingly enough, he was born in 1978, the year Van Halen 1 premiered, and I'm not sure how practical this choice would be, but West is currently 41 years old, but who knows? Hollywood could do some amazing things with makeup and CGI to make actors look younger. And he also sent us some videos of his friends and him performing Going Crazy, and he also had one of Good Enough. I love those. They were really good. I enjoyed the videos because it reminded me of the 80s in Six Flags and stuff like that. I saw and all the goofy things that you do as a teenager, so it was a lot of fun. But it's good to see that spirit. And thank you so much, Curtis. I really appreciate it. His last name is pronounced Loncluse, I think. It seems that way. I'm not sure.
He'll write in next month and correct it. Don't worry.
Loncluse. I think so. Okay. Anyway, Dave, what do you think of that choice? Do you know that guy Shane West or no?
I do not.
Okay, Dave doesn't know Shane West. I vaguely remember Shane West. He definitely has the look. That's for sure. He has the Eddie look for sure. He could easily pull that off. I'm sure his acting ability is good, so we shall see with that. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, he certainly could pull it off. I think he also has a young enough look to pull it off. But who knows, man? I don't know if we'll ever see this the light of day. So we'll have to see if anything comes of it. It also probably depends on the success of the Dirt. If the Dirt is some sort of runaway success, well, I don't think it will be, but maybe there would be some interest in a Van Halen one, because Van Halen is pretty close to Motley Crue, and they have a better storyline and much deeper catalog. So who knows? Who knows? We are on to letter number 8 from David Pickerel. And he says, hey, there's another Dave here, and he wonders why there's so many Daves connected to Van Halen. And I guess it's a popular name in the 70s. He said he was born in a city in the UK called Stoke-on-Trent. And he's mentioning this for a couple of reasons, because not only is it a place where Slash and Lemmy grew up, but Van Halen played there in 1978. He said he didn't go because he was only 4. However, he hadn't heard of Van Halen. Everybody's got an excuse, right? He says he's heard a bootleg from there, and he says with Roth mentioning Stoke is one of the greatest things ever. He also wanted to say that he eventually did get to see them on the Right Here, Right Now tour at the NEC in Birmingham, where they were supported by the Little Angels, and he loved every minute of it. He was going to see them with Gary, but the tour never made it to the UK, and he says, I think the ceiling fell on Alex or something.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That's true.
That is true. There were pieces of and the building was condemned after that.
Oh, my God. Speaking of Gary, he says it's nice to see you guys actually give him the time of day in all versions of Van Halen, taking the time to talk about that era. He says, one last quick thing. The comment you had saying that one of you sounds like a depressed Michael Anthony is one of the funniest things I've heard on a podcast, if a little unfair. And keep up the good work. So, David, I'm going to say right now, that was definitely unfair. And I was not really mad at the listener who did that because he was being cartoonish and stuff. But Dave is definitely not some sort of depressive guy. He's an upbeat guy, and he's got a good sense of humor, so I have to defend Dave there. But no one really mentioned, and they don't know it, how cheap he is. That's
guilty is charged. Very guilty is charged.
He's the only guy who tears up when his wallet opens and he actually says a formal goodbye to each dollar that leaves it.
I give them each a hug and kiss before
As
they
if
leave.
they were a child going off to war.
Well, that's where most of my money is going these days, is off to the children. So
That's right. So yeah, everybody's got to lay off Dave a little bit and give him a little breathing room. And it's 2019, and we're gonna leave that in the past and look forward. So we are on to letter number 9 from Paul Davis. And Paul says he loves the new podcast, which was the skyscraper one. He's, I'm probably the biggest Sammy defender who listens to the podcast, and I really appreciate you guys coming to Van Hagar's defense. It is cliche for quote-unquote real Van Halens to say the Dave era is better than the Sammy era, but here in the San Francisco Bay Area, it's like proclaiming that Joe Montana is better than Steve Young. They're both great. They both won Super Bowls. Can't we just enjoy Sam and Dave and even Gary? Well, having said that, the only one Sammy lyric that grinds on me the most is "Only time will tell if we stand the test of time." From Why Can't This Be Love? It's redundant, like saying, let's go out in the rain and see if we get wet.
it is redundantly redundant, but that's why I love it so much.
That is funny. And he's another one who sent us a video, which is kind of funny, being with the skyscraper theme we had for the last episode, of him and his brother, I think, and his friends climbing Mount Ritter in the Sierras, and they put it to the sounds of Just Like Paradise. So you see them in the mountains running around doing all their stuff. And that was a fun video to see. Paul, thank you for sending that. He's from Sacramento, California. But Paul, listen, don't be ashamed of liking whatever you like, and that's just there's no shame in that. It's all good, and there is a lot of people who love to bash on Sam, and there's no reason for it. There's no reason to not understand it and accept the entire catalog of Van Halen, Gary included, all of it. It's all good. I think that there's no reason anybody should have any hate towards Sam. The way Dave and I look at it, we've said this 6,000 times, but it really is different bands. When Sam's in the band, when Gary's in the band, Dave's in the band, it's a different band. It's a different band. Now, that's fine, and there's nothing wrong with liking one over the other. However, you can't go, crazy hard on somebody like that. So, anyway, I totally agree with you. Thank you so much for listening. You have anything to say on that, Dave?
No, you hit the nail right on the head.
Okay, so now we got a letter from Brandon Wall. Brandon's one of our very avid listeners. He is always texting me. He goes by the nickname Chocolate Slim, Dave, and it's because he is a African-American gentleman and he's a thin gentleman. So anyway, he says, hello, guys. He says, I'm a longtime listener and a huge fan of the band. He loves Eddie Van Halen's guitar playing because he's a guitar player himself. He's a huge fan of the podcast, and he recently has enjoyed the Martin Popoff episode, to the Filthy Little Mouth episode with Nile Rodgers and Terry Kilgore, as well as the Skyscraper episode. And he wanted to take some time to give us a couple of things he wanted to bring up. Number one, he says, I do believe that Van Halen will be doing shows in 2019. I don't know if we'll see them doing shows with Metallica, though. Guns N' Roses or the Foo Fighters, a possibility. But Church and Stapleton, hell no. I do believe that Michael Anthony may come back into the fold, despite him shutting down a reunion rumors. I believe it's all top secret and that somewhere down the line, he'll be back with the guys, but there needs to be open communication between the band. Okay, number one, I don't know. 2019, I'll address them one at a time. We've already talked about that. It's a possibility. Maybe it's, what would you say, Dave, like a 50-50 shot? Right?
Sure, I don't even know.
I don't even know.
I don't even know. Sure.
Right.
I really don't know.
All right. So, and he says here, number two, I believe that Wolfgang Van Halen might possibly be doing shows with Eddie and Alex as his backup band when his solo album drops, but it won't be in big arenas or stadiums. Van Halen fans might be disappointed if Eddie's playing bass only, and some people may pass. Just saying. What do you think? Do you agree with that, right?
Well, I know we spoke about that last time,
right.
and you had proposed that as an idea.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course, we have no clue if that's how it's going to go down or not.
Right.
But if it does happen, I tell you, if he's just going to do bass, I would think twice about it. But if he's going to switch out between guitar and bass, I'm going to be the first ones there catching that show in a smaller venue in intimate setting, because I'd love to see Al and Ed play in a venue like that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree in the sense that I'm sure they will play smaller venues if they do any at all, and it'll be a handful. I don't think it'll be a monstrous thing. But number 3, I hate to break it to grumpy wise ass Dave. Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh wow! But you said in a couple of episodes ago that Motley Crue are a heavy metal band, maybe in 1981, 82, or 83. But general terms, no way. Motley Crue are a hard rock band. There's no.
Oh, here we go.
I know it doesn't
again.
ever stop. But plus, you mentioned a while back that the Eagles' Greatest Hits album counts as an album a few episodes ago, and it does not count as an album. It's a compilation of hits. So in my opinion, this is not the best-selling album of all time. That distinction goes to Michael Jackson, Thriller, and there's no debating. This guy is very stringent about his thoughts. Obviously, I agree with that. I think Motley Crue is hard rock. I think Thriller is the best album. No Greatest Hits allowed. I think that's cheating. Dave, you still stand on where you stand, right?
Yeah, you're wrong. You're wrong on both counts.
We're both wrong.
And you're both wrong, okay? Because
absolutely.
An album is a collection of songs, whether they've been pre-released or not.
That's
right.
Okay.
You can't take away from the Eagles that they have sold tens of millions of that album. That's number 1. And the whole Motley Crue thing, and even like the Van Halen thing, I mean, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's just music. Everyone tries to put a label to stuff. Yeah. So as long as you like it, it really doesn't matter. So if you say Motley Crue's not heavy metal, I mean, more power to you, man.
Fine.
But
okay.
I respectfully disagree.
Okay. Number 4, he says, Mr. Criblay, I hate to break it to you, my man, but as far as Van Halen biopic, that's not even possible. I'll tell you why. Number 1, way too much history, 40 years plus. You're never going to get it into 2 hours or even 3 hours. Now, you can't tell the whole story. Number 2, you need Eddie and Alex's permission to do so. Number 1, you don't need any big-name movie stars or actors who can play, let alone capture the essence of the members of Van Halen. They'll need to be unknown actors in order to accomplish this. Number 4, the only way the Van Halen story could really be told is either like the Beatles anthology style to tell everything, or even be like the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers documentary, Running Down a Dream, documentary style. These are my tidbits. Keep up the awesome work that you guys do, and thank you for your time. Brandon Wall, a.k.a. Chocolate Slim. 2 things that I will never be, chocolate or slim. So
you're on your way.
I'm on my way.
Well, you're on your way to the second one.
I don't think I'll be slim, but anyway. So anyway, I want to address that. You know what? That's a good idea. Probably the best thing would be if someone did a real documentary, like a really, and let me tell you something, like the one the Eagles did, that was a good one, because those guys have a lot of dirt. They left their balls on the table with that one. They really went all out. So, you know what, Brandon, I really think that is the way to go. Dave, have you seen that Tom Petty documentary? It's unbelievable.
No, I haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay, you've seen the Eagles one, right?
No, I haven't seen that one either.
Oh, Jesus. The history of the Eagles, Dave, you got to see that. And the Running Down a Dream, which is the Tom Petty one, unbelievable doc. Brandon, you're 100%. I'm going to give you props, Brandon. Mr. Slim, Mr. Chocolate Slim. I am going to give you props. That is the way to go. If someone does a documentary about them, that's fantastic. There's an unbelievable one on Twisted Sister that is currently on Netflix. The interesting thing about it is it's only right up until they become successful and then the movie ends. But that sounds crazy. Oh my God, why would you do that? But because that was such an interesting story, and there's definitely could be a part 2 there. And I actually spoke to Dee about it. That's called We Are Twisted Fucking Sister. That's the name of the documentary. And that is another fantastic documentary. Just unbelievable. Same thing with Tom Petty. Same thing with the history of the Eagles. These are, and they're hours long. I mean, these things, that Tom Petty one has got to be over 3 hours. It's so good.
Oh, yeah, no, it's like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, and you know what?
It's on my to-do.
That's just unbelievable and sad. They did that all before he died, so it's kind of nice that you have that now. Same thing with Glenn Frey. That Eagles documentary, all done before he passed away, and that really is like a legacy thing. So, obviously, Glenn is not here anymore, but he spilled his guts on that tape. So there's lots of good stuff there. So, I think, yeah, you're right. That's the way to go. And if you do something, you'd have to include the whole history because the story is so interesting. Somebody's got to do it. If I was a filmmaker, I'd love to do it, but somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do the right job with it. Anyway, number 11, we move on to our letter, and it is from Dave in PGH. Do you know what that means, Dave? That's one of your guys from the Van Halen Links.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Pittsburgh? I don't.
Oh, maybe that is Pittsburgh. Yeah. Okay. So, hi, Dave and Dave. He says, love the show as always. Like the days of looking forward to the latest edition of the Inside Magazine. I used to write for that magazine. So anyway, you guys